Now I'm going to go ahead and set the rest of the type to the right font. So I'm going to zoom out. And hopefully I'll be able to do this in one fell swoop. I may end up changing a few of these, but the idea here is I'm going to do them quickly. So I'm going to select everything, hold the Shift key, and unselect 12th Annual Movement Marathon. Press I for eyedropper. Come over to this other text and click it. Boom. Done. So now everything is set with the right font. I'll save my file again, Command S. And I'm looking at the grid. And I want to just say this again. The idea behind the grid is to help you, not to hurt you. So what you can start to see happen is things already start to look as if they know where they want to go. So this piece here, S for scale, or there's two ways you can do this. You can scale it by clicking on the corner and then come over to the opposite lower corner and just hold the Shift key so it stays scaled to that line, but it's kind of not working. So instead of doing it that way, it wants to snap. So I'm selecting it all and going up to the sizer. Where are you, sizer? I cannot read. There it is. And I'm going to use the up arrow till that comes out to there. Okay? So if I didn't have the grid lines, I would kind of be guessing, like, where should I line this up? Is this helping? Yeah? Most everybody is nodding, except for the rest of you who look like you are in a trance. Okay? August 19th, 2016, at Destiny Arts Center. That is supposed to say center. Sorry, Destiny Arts people. Oops, now I made an extra text block. Hate when I do that. Select the text first, then click after the S, space, center. All right, now in the font that I looked at online, the A's all had a dot on for the cross. So this must be a lowercase a. Nope, that's bogus. I'm hating that. Okay, so I have to fix that. I'm going to have to hand do that. Now here's a question is, what do I do about this? Should it fit in this column or should it come out to this one? What do you think? What would you do if it was yours? What would you do? Smaller or bigger?
Bigger.
That's where it is, so let's make it bigger. S for scale, click and drag, and it's spazzing out on me. I know that's not right. So I'm going to select the type, 1, 2, 3, to select the whole line, click up arrow until that comes out to there. Now, I'm already having questions about my design, so I want to tell you a few more tips because we're getting closer to 8:30 here. So I'm pressing the Tab key to hide the menus. Tab is hiding and showing those menus. That's what's doing that. Another thing that's super helpful is down here at the bottom we have Change Screen Mode. At the bottom of the Tools panel we have Change Screen Mode. It's normal, full, with menu bar, or full with full screen mode. So I'm going to go to full screen mode, click away, and I'm starting to get a better idea of what this looks like. Command minus to zoom out. I'm going to increase the size of some of these lines. And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to put the muscular dystrophy on its own line. So Shift Return is a soft return. For Muscular Dystrophy Association, I think it is. Okay, and the alignment is just, not really happening yet, but let's get this back. All right, I'm going to click away. When I press the Tab key, my menus come back. Command S is for scale. All right, now I'm thinking, because I'm teaching you, I have to tell you what I'm thinking, that I have an issue starting to bother me here, and the issue that's starting to bother me is that I don't have the art in. And it's really difficult for me to design this without the art. The art being the marathon photo which I think is pretty important. Okay, and I'm just sometimes having a hard time talking while I design. I think the two sides of my brain are competing. That's what it feels like. It's like hard to talk sometimes. All right, so this line here probably wants to come out to there, so I'm going to select everything, text tool. I'm going to select it all, up arrow, problems occurring, right? Got to make that text box the right size. Almost there. All right, now something I like but not here is happening, which is the line letting is messed up. So here is the size of the type, and if you look at the top here in this control bar, it's not so helpful. Over here in the character panel, more helpful. And this is where I like to click and use shift up, so I can shift arrow so I can increase by 10 pixels at a time or decrease by 10 pixels at a time. So the size is going up. And now the box has to get bigger. So I hope what you're starting to see from this is that it's a process. I don't immediately know, if I don't have a sketch, which I'm not working with a sketch right now, exactly where things go. So that's why I want you to make a sketch, so that you're not doing this. You're not trying to design it as you go. I think for someone like me who's been designing since they were 7, I could come up with something that's going to be fine without designing with a sketch, because in my head there are sketches. You can't see it, but it's in there. But you haven't been doing this for 40 years. So you want to give yourself the benefit of having a plan, and that's what a sketch is. A sketch is a plan. If I'm looking at the way these might look like in 2 columns, that is probably not a good idea. So I'll have to reduce the size of this text back to 80, which I remember that's what it was, so I can just type it in, which, you know, is nice. And playing around with how this is going to fit across 2 columns. I'm going to save it again, however, because as I started to say, I'm having a hard time designing because I don't have one of my main elements, which is my illustration. Okay, how's everyone doing? Take a deep breath. I know it's hard to listen for this long. Breathe out again. Nice deep breath. Wake yourself up. All right, so this is really kind of odd because on one hand I have this very space age type, but the image I'm going to use is far from space age. It's very like 1940s looking. So to make it fit sort of this more modern spacey feel that I'm going with for my mood board look, and of course I can't stop designing while I'm talking, but I'm going to open it up in Photoshop and I'm going to do a treatment to it. And that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to toggle over to Photoshop. And I'm going to find it on my desktop. Dance Marathon. And open it. And okay. Now, I know this is not a Photoshop class, and I know it's not an Illustrator class. It is a design class, but there's no way you're going to be able to do these projects without having some of these skills or ideas behind what to do. Now, apparently these were the parents of someone, and they were circled. See the little circle there? Just noticed that? Someone loved these people a lot. They got circled. That's my mom and dad. They were in the marathon. Oh, those people were friends of theirs. They got circled too. All right, so I'm going to first fix the overall balance of this. It looks much better on the projector than it does on my monitor. It's a little flat, so I'm going to go and do an image adjustments, levels adjustments, adjust the overall contrast in a photo. And really, this is not bad. I just feel like it needs to be lighter, so I'm going to brighten it up. I know the one on screen looks really bright, but the one in my document does not. So I'm going to click OK. And that looks better. The next thing I want to do is I want to give it some kind of a fun feeling to it and have it be more exciting. Those are the words. So I need to have those colors from my mood board. So I'm going to go again here to open. And I think I've been doing a lot of things this week since there it is, mood board. Yay. All right, there's my mood board. And just for quick helping myself, the quick of helping myself, I'm going to click and drag and just get these main colors. Command C to copy these colors, and I'm going to go over to my dance marathon image and create a new layer and paste those. Command T to scale them. Not so helpful. Command T, there it is. Okay. So I have these colors here on a layer. And I'll get the other colors as well, which is really just this blue. I really just want these little block here, these blues. Command C for copy, switch, Command V, and now I have Command T, that's for size or transform, and return, and move these over. Okay, so now I'm looking at these awesome colors that I can refer to. I'm going to click on the background layer, which is where all my friends are, and I am going to create a overlay gradient, like in the postcard I showed you earlier. Okay. So I think I'm going to do it with just this magenta and this blue. So I'm going to go to the gradient tool. Oh, that's just too freaky. There's magenta and blue in there. That's completely accidental. All right, that was just a strange thing. All right, so if I click here, I should be able to sample this magenta. And if I click here at this chip, I should be able to sample this blue. Life is good. I'm going to click OK. Now those are the colors in my gradient. I'm essentially going to paint over this entire layer that you're looking at with that gradient from pink to blue. And now you do not see the photo because I painted it on the wrong layer. I am still going to hide the photo by painting on the top layer and deleting the middle layer, yes. And here's the treatment that I did. I selected this layer and I chose this choice called overlay. So now I have some color on there. That is the overlay. That is called the layer mode. And here's the setting again. It's overlay. I could choose soft light, not as colorful, or screen. Just kind of fades it out, or darken, looks solarized and weird, or multiply. None of those are it. It's the overlay one. And I'll tell you more about layer modes next week. All right, now I'm completely happy with it, except for one thing. So what? Anybody? What was it?
Circles.
The circles. No, I'm actually going to leave the circles because I don't have time to retouch them out right now. I'm happy with the circles. I think they're awesome. They just really make it for me. But I am going to add another layer. Boom, there's another layer. And I'm going to increase the size of the canvas. So this is the cropping tool. It's an odd tool because it will actually allow you to increase, not just decrease the size of something. So I'm scaling this up a bit and pressing return. I know that's black right there right now, which seems frightening. It's not that scary. I'm going to select that layer and I'm going to fill that with blue. I'm going to sample I for eyedrop, just like in Illustrator, this blue color, Option Delete to fill that with blue. Now I'm putting blue on there because what I really need to do is I need my galaxy situation. Without that, it's not space art. Okay, so I'm actually going to just get something that's more like a night with stars, going over to search. Type, and something here should be very starry. I don't want it to be too hokey, or maybe I do. Okay, so I'm going to use that. So I'm going to Control click and copy image, Command T, tab, Command tab to toggle over to Photoshop, switching documents, Command V for paste, return to convert, Do it. Command T to size this thing. And it has that magenta in it, which is working fine for me. And I'm going to just stick it on there and squish it. It is now squished. I'm going to overlay it down here, covering up almost to the tops of the heads of my friends. And then I'm going to show you one more little technique, and then we're going to call it done for this. So I'm going to select that layer. Here it is. I'm going to put it above everything else. Now it looks really gross. I'm going to put it below everything else, and I'm going to take out this extra thing. I don't need that. And on this layer, because I want it to blend better into the layer below, I'm going to do a thing called a layer mask. 1, 2, 3rd button over from the bottom of the layers panel. You don't need to do this technique. I'm just showing you in case this helps you. I now have a mask on it. And I'm going to take a thing called a brush. And what I'm painting is not to erase the photo, but to mask it out so it sort of blends into the photo here. Just kind of want this edge. I'm going to make the brush smaller by using a left bracket to blend in to the starry situation, right? So there's my art for my poster. For now, that'll work. Crop tool, I'm going to trim it down a little from the bottom and the top to get the important part in, which is the dancers, and save a version of it. Now, this is going into a print document, so I'm going to save it as Dance Marathon PSD. Yes, I'm writing over it, but then I need to save another version. This is really important. Save as to the format called TIFF, Tagged Image File Format. This is a print format. I am going to unclick Embed Color Profile of Adobe RGB 1998 because I'm going to actually be printing this in CMYK. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, the print colors. So I'm saving it, and I'm clicking OK, and it's going to want to keep the layers, which is really not what I want to do. So I'm going to click cancel twice here. Cancel, cancel. Click on the top layer, and I'm going to, because I already saved the Photoshop one, I'm going to flatten the image. Now it's one piece. This image, Dance Marathon PSD, is not what I'm saving. I'm saving a copy. So here we go again. Save as. I'm going to make sure this saves as TIFF. And now checking off embed the color profile, clicking save, and there it is. Life is good. So I'm going to close this file, toggle back to Illustrator. I have 10 more minutes to finish doing whatever I can get done. And here we go. So now I'm going to put in the art. I'm going to take these bits here and put them over to the side. Take my photo now and place it. So that's going to be changing my view here. Lost my tools. Here they are. To normal screen mode and file place. Dance Marathon TIFF place. Now, you'll see it says 1 of 1 on there. The artwork, if I want it to print to the edge, actually has to go off the edge a little bit to print properly. So I'm sizing it a little bit bigger than the width, and now I'm happy because everything is fitting for the most part. The artwork probably also should not be on top of everything else. That's probably not a good idea. So I'm going to do cut, edit cut, select all, edit, paste in back. Now it's behind everything, and you can see that here's my event sponsors, text. That was really the only thing that got overlaid. So here I'm going to put the time on the poster, on the photo. I'm going to select the text, and I'm going to change the color to white. looking at my grid now more closely, looking at if everything is actually where it's supposed to be. That's supposed to be there. This is supposed to be over here. Ish. There we go. And again, text tool, text tool. You are my friend. Not selecting all, fine. And white, white. Click away. All right, now what I'm going to do is, because I can tell that I'm starting to lose you, is I'm going to stop designing the poster for now. I am going to finish designing the poster, and I'm going to post the finished, and I'm going to record what I do. However, I'm going to post that tomorrow. I'm going to finish the poster demo and post the video of it. Because I feel like you're probably getting an idea of what to expect, and at the same time you also probably want to see this finished, but I can tell just looking at some of your faces, you sort of look like you're falling asleep. It's a long day, it's a lot to watch, but this should start to give you an idea of how it's done. You have a question? No, it's just a stretch? Okay. So, you know, there's a lot that still has to happen on this design, and I'm going to stop right here. Okay, but to starting to look like a poster, yeah, right? A couple other things here before we run away is color. I'm going to select this text. I'm going to go over to the type color, and I did not add these colors. Oh yeah, I did add these colors at some point, and when I pasted in my art from Photoshop, from my mood board, there's the color, my pink color right there. Okay, and I'll click away. Yeah, okay, and then here, movement marathon and color, and there is my blue color, and click away. So I'm starting to apply the color. Other things that I might want to do to increase the space arty feeling of this, that is kind of a neat thing. I can do something you might not have thought about doing, is I can use this photo again, and I'm going to use it in a surprising way. I'm going to take it, I'm going to option drag it, so now I have two. I'm going to press R for rotate, and I'm rotating it around 360, and I'm using shift arrow up. Maybe it'd be faster if I just use the move tool, and I'm going to move it so that what actually is only going to show here is just a little tip of that little blue sky there. I kind of like that. And I might even want to do that same thing again down here at the very bottom of the poster. So I'm option shift dragging that so it stays lined up. And then to get an idea of what this is going to look like without all the other stuff obscuring it, is I'm going to go to full screen mode again, press the tab key, and so I can sort of start seeing what's happening. If you were not here last week or you forgot about this, tab key, menus, come back menus. Okay, if I look at under view here, we have a few different view options, but none of these options makes it that easy to see what you're really going to see when you print this out.
What's overprint preview?
Overprint preview has to do with the way colors will print on top of each other, and there's nothing really overlaying each other right now when you have semi-transparent colors. But if I do this fit artboard in window, it's now fitting the artboard to that size. Okay.
The artboard button doesn't have hide.
If I click this artboard button, it only does that. That's the artboard button. Okay. Okay, but what you can do is this. You can either do that little trick I do where I create those little masky blocker thingies, or you can do this, File. I think this is probably the best thing to do. It's also good practice. Export. And I'm going to export this out as a JPEG because this is a small export. Poster work JPEG to the desktop, and I'm going to export it. And yes, CMYK, I'm going to make the quality a good quality. Right now, it's only going to be at 72 pixels per inch. This is a quick export so that you can test your work and look at it. When you finish, you're going to want to put this on 300. But for now, I'm going to leave it at 72. And this is just for me to look at what I'm doing. I do this all the time when I'm working. I'll toggle over to Photoshop. I don't need this file open, so I'll close it. And then I'll open up that file I just made. It's not helpful at all. Okay? It should not given me all this rest of this stuff here, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to do File. First of all, I'm going to remove this artboard. So now I'm done with that artboard. So I'm going to delete that artboard. I just clicked on it. I'm deleting it because that was the one that was selected. That's the one that went away. And I still need this text here, so I really don't want to delete that. And I can tell, I'm really a little bit away from what I need to have happen here because I still need to fit in all this text. Okay, but I'm going to cut it for now because I'm just going to stay in Illustrator. So I'm going to delete that. So my cut is what's on the clipboard. Okay, so then I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do Export, File, Export. And settings should still be there. Poster work and export and replace and OK. Have to click it. And Command T and close that. Command O for open. How is it doing that? Why is it doing that? I thought I got rid of that thing. All right. Thought I got rid of you. Guess I didn't. So you know that you'll have weird things happen to you too. So you will not feel crazy. What happened to my teacher? Close that. Try it again. Where is that? Where are you, photo? Oh, I'm sorry. All right, so let's try it again. Really should be cropping this. So let's do it this way. File. We're going to do Save As for Web. It's large. It doesn't really like doing a large image like this. There it goes. Zoom out. I do have a zoom out tool right here. Command minus. And sometimes I just look at it like this. I'm just like, oh, okay, well, it's starting to look like a poster. But I'll save it as a JPEG. High. That makes it white in the background. And again, I'll save it. I'm going to give it that same name. Poster work JPEG. This time I'm doing it correctly. And tab over to Photoshop. Command O for open. And open it up. What the heck? How is that even happening? Heck, that cannot be happening. That makes zero sense because I just exported out a clipped version of it. And I just deleted the background. I mean, that photo. How is that happening? Where did it go? Saved it someplace else. So save. Save. Oh, it went to documents. Yep. Reading is fundamental. Replace. Tab over. Open, and it's now 9 o'clock. Okay, poster work JPEG. So this is how you can test and look at your work starting to look like a poster, okay? So I will finish it. I'll finish it tomorrow. And I'll have it up by 3-ish. So hopefully you're starting to get a feel for what to expect, how to lay out the elements, and how to start having them follow the grid.